Hi everybody, Dugroz here with Dugroz Reports. Today we're going to be talking about the best cashback credit cards for senior citizens. In recent days and weeks, I've been helping my parents with some of their financial matters as they're into retirement now and getting a little bit older. So the topic was on my mind, and I thought if I was helping my folks get a credit card, what kind of credit card might be a good one for them to get? And I thought you might be interested in that too. So in honor of senior citizens everywhere, I'm wearing this hat, which belonged to my wife's grandpa before he passed away. And I've got my oversized driving sunglasses. Now, if topics like this one sound interesting to you, on this channel we talk about getting epic value, which includes but is not limited to maximizing credit cards. If you think that's something you'd like to follow along with, please subscribe to my channel and click the thumbs up button for this video. Let's get started. So a couple preliminary thoughts or kind of ground rules as I go through this video. Obviously, there's a wide variety of senior citizens or retired folks. Some are still relatively young and can travel a lot. That's not really who I'm focusing on for the sake of this video. You'll notice this is about cashback credit cards for senior citizens. So I'm assuming these are folks that need to stay a little closer to home, aren't really traveling a whole lot. As I think about my parents, they like to eat out, they do grocery shopping, they drive around sometimes, so there's a lot of focus on groceries, gas, and dining out. So we're just looking for someone who wants a pretty simple setup, and I'm going to be thinking about this a lot from the point of view of an adult helping their parents or a middle-aged person helping their parents who are senior citizens figure out what credit card is best for them. So I've got 6 candidates. Let's dive in, see what you think. The first one that comes to mind is the AARP Rewards Visa from Chase, and mainly this is on the list just because it's specifically marketed to senior citizens. This particular card gives 3% cash back on restaurants, 3% cash back on gas, and 1% everywhere else. I'm not going to necessarily always remember to mention the 1% everywhere else, but that's pretty much a feature of every single credit card that has any kind of rewards. This card has no annual fee. It's honestly not the greatest credit card, and as we get into the video, you'll see why as I compare it to some others, but it's so well known as a credit card that's targeted to senior citizens, I wanted to be sure to mention it. Moving on, the Citi Double Cash card. Now, we've all heard of it. This is about the simplest credit card there is. It gives you 2% cash back on everything, and there's no annual fee. That's it. That's all there is. So if you're looking for something really simple, Citi Double Cash would be a really good choice for lots of senior citizens. Just keeping it simple. Next up is the American Express Blue Cash Preferred. This particular credit card is one that is great for folks that are real heavy on groceries. So maybe grandma likes to do a lot of baking for when the kids come over, or she likes to share with other people. So you've got a hefty grocery bill. This particular card is only worth getting if you spend more than $3,500 per year on groceries. And I'll explain why in just a little bit. It'll become pretty self-evident. It gives 6% back on supermarkets, and that would include grocery stores. It also includes Walmart online grocery, up to $6,000 per year. I do have a separate video where I review just this card, and I'll put a link up in the corner if you want to check that out. It also gives 6% cash back on streaming services. Don't know if most retired folks use streaming services, but I'm sure some do. And then 3% back on transit, which includes things like gas, rideshare, taxis. We would be mostly looking at it for the gas point of view. And then it does have a $95 annual fee. And that's why I say this is only worth getting if you spend at least $3,500 per year on groceries. If you spend less than that, it would make more sense to get a card that gives you 3% back on groceries with no annual fee. And we'll have at least one example later in this video, so hang in there. Let's move on. Next up is the Bank of the West Cashback World MasterCard. This card gives 3% back on groceries. It gives 3% back on gas and 3% back on restaurants, and it has no annual fee. Now, if your parents are anything like mine, these are probably the 3 biggest spending categories on a credit card. Buying groceries, going to Hy-Vee or Safeway or Costco or whatever your grocery store is. I guess Costco wouldn't be a grocery store, so ignore that part. But there's lots of other grocery stores out there. If you drive around, you stop at a gas station. And remember, gas stations aren't just gas. It's anything you buy at a gas station. If you walk in, get a pop, get some chicken nuggets, that all counts. And then 3% back at restaurants. Like I said, retired folks like to eat out a lot, it seems like. Moving on, the U.S. Bank Cash Plus Visa. Now, this is an interesting card. It gives you 5% back in cash on your choice of 2 categories. And there's a list of about 15 to 20 categories you can choose from. They're not all super common things. For the sake of this video and the comparison I'm doing, I've chosen the 2 categories being fast food and home utilities. So maybe your folks really like to eat out, but they're happy with Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's or whatever, some sort of fast food place. And then probably everyone has at least some home utilities that can go on a credit card. Like in my case, my internet and cable, no cost to put it on a credit card. Same thing with my water bill, no cost to put that on a credit card. Some other options that you have for those 5% categories are ground transport, which would be like Uber taxis, movies, maybe grandma and grandpa really like to go to the movies, and department stores. And then this gives 2% back on gas stations, restaurants, that would be any restaurant, including sit-down places, and groceries. And this has no annual fee. Next up, the PNC Cash Rewards Visa. This particular card has 4% back on gas, 3% back on restaurants, 2% back on groceries, and it has no annual fee. So this one kind of does the 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. The one's not showing is everything else, of course. And this, again, hits all the categories. Now, those are the 6 cards I want to feature, and obviously what you tend to spend the most on will vary which one you should get. Obviously, if you lean more towards dining, you'd probably want the PNC Cash Rewards. If you lean more towards groceries, you'd probably want the American Express Blue Cash Preferred. But anyhow, 3 of the 6 have sign-up bonuses. The AARP card will give you a sign-up bonus. If you spend at least $500, they'll give you $100. The American Express Blue Cash Preferred will give you $300 as a bonus on $1,000 of spending. And the U.S. Bank Cash Plus gives you a $150 sign-up bonus on $500 of spending. And for the most part, you usually have around 90 days to meet those minimum spend requirements, but be sure to check on the specifics at the time you do it. The PNC Cash Rewards has had a sign-up bonus in the recent past. As recently as like last November, December, I saw there was one, but it's now gone away. So it could come back, but as of now, this is how it stands. So how do these numbers shake out in terms of helping you decide which one's best? Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to vary based on your spending patterns. But just for the sake of an illustration, I did make a sample annual budget. For the sake of this fake budget, we're going to assume that your parents or the senior citizens you're trying to help spend about $5,000 a year on dining in restaurants. And I'm thinking that's less than $100 a week. So wouldn't take a lot to get there. If you're eating out 4, 5, 6 days a week, even a single meal, you'll probably get there. $1,700 a year on gas stations, whether it's gas or going inside and buying things. And then $3,800 a year at grocery stores. Now, admittedly, this is a little bit of a guess, so not sure how this is going to break out. I did roughly base these on like national statistics, but that's for any household. I tweaked it for what I thought is more likely for a typical senior citizen family. And then $5,500 on everything else, which includes $500 for entertainment. Maybe your parents want to drive to the next town over and see an Engelbert Humperdinck concert or something like that a couple times a year. And $2,000 for pharmacy, figuring there's probably some medical expenses, pretty common to have prescriptions as you get older, and $3,000 for miscellaneous expenses. Now, obviously, we know probably an average household could run a lot more than this through credit cards, but my thought is most senior citizens want it more simple, especially if you're guiding your parents as they're getting, up there in age in the late 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe even. You don't want them to be, having to pay for things with a credit card that are more difficult to pay for. So I'm trying to keep it pretty simple for the sake of this video. Here's how it breaks out. The AARP card, well, let me give you just a word of explanation here. So the first number you see, if there's more than one, is the annual cash back based on that sample budget. And then the number in parentheses, if applicable, is the first year including the sign-up bonus. So the spend natural bonus and the sign-up bonus. The AARP card from Chase would get you $294 per year, $394 in the first year. The Citi Double Cash gets you $320, no sign-up bonus. The American Express Blue Cash Preferred would get you $289 in a normal year, $589 in the first year, because right now their sign-up bonus is $300. By the way, I have seen that vary a lot, but that's just what it is right now. The Bank of the West card is $370, does not have a sign-up bonus. The U.S. Bank Cash Plus is $340, plus the sign-up bonus would be $490 in the first year. And the PNC Cash Rewards card, $349, no sign-up bonus. So if we're trying to think about which one's best, a couple thoughts, and it's going to vary. But if you're just going with this totally average budget and you're not wanting to change cards year to year, do any kind of downgrade, you just want to apply once and be done with it and never make a change, the Bank of the West card is actually the winner for year over year at $370. Nothing else is as high as that. The American Express Blue Cash Preferred is the winner in the first year with a total of $589. Really not too shabby. Who wouldn't want a free $589? Now, you could, at the end of the first year, downgrade to the American Express Blue Cash Everyday card, which is a no annual fee card. The bonus categories are not as lucrative on that one. So I'm thinking, just thinking out loud here, depending on how you do your spending, if you did like a lot of fast food, had a lot of utility expenses, the Cash Plus would be your best choice. If you do lots and lots of eating out, not just fast food, but sit-down restaurants, the PNC would be your best choice. If you're pretty balanced, the Bank of the West would be your best choice. And if you just want to keep it simple, the Citi would be your best choice. American Express Blue Cash Preferred, of course, would be your best choice if you do a lot of groceries. I really don't see any scenario where you would want to get the AARP card unless you're just chasing little tiny sign-up bonuses, because it has the exact same advantages as the Bank of the West card, but the Bank of the West has one more category. So really, even though the AARP card is marketed as a card for seniors, the Bank of the West Cashback World Card is actually better all around for senior citizens, in my opinion. If you're interested in checking out any of these credit cards, I will put links to all of them in the description box down below. Depending on when you watch this video, some of these may be refer a friend links, and it would be a situation where it would help me out if you apply for them using those links. That probably applies to some, but not all of the cards. So I would love to hear your opinions. Let me know, are you a senior citizen who is looking for a credit card? Or do you have a loved one who's a senior citizen and looking for a credit card? Well, I would love to hear from you either way. Again, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and as always, may your purchases be frugal and may your travels be safe. Thanks for watching.